Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're at in this big blueberry of a world we call Earth. My name is Kody, and I am the host of Behind the Premium. It's good to be back. We've had a little bit of a summer vacation, I guess you could say, from ending our season one, and we're now entering into season two, and we are kicking it off with an exclusive interview. We'll introduce them here in a second, but just to kind of give you some premise and some context around who we've got as guests today. I don't know about you, but growing up, I loved playing with Legos. The building, the construction of it, being able to use my creativity has been one of those childhood nostalgia memories that I will always have. Growing up and becoming an adult, I think that's kind of changed for me. Stepping on Legos has not been one of my favorite things as an adult, but it has been one of those bonding things that I've had with my kids as they are growing up as well. But joining me today is a brand that is working on trying to keep that childhood nostalgia and that childhood excitement around brick building to a whole new level. So joining me today is Dean and Burgundy from Brava Brands. How are you guys?
Hey, Kody, doing great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. We're excited to have you guys on here. Why don't we just kind of just dive right into it and basically have you guys tell us who you are, what your role is there at Brava, how long you've been with Brava, and let's put a spin on it. What is your favorite Lego set that you guys have built?
That's a great question. I will say we actually have two kids at home. We have a 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. And I also love building Lego, especially with them. But we have to put the sets high on a shelf. Otherwise, they end up broken, taken apart, and we step on Legos. So, we definitely feel that. Gluing the sets together can be great. We do that a lot.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. What did they call it in the Lego movie? Kraken or something like that? The Great Kraken. I don't know. Sorry.
Down upon, you actually should not do it. Kids hate it when you glue their sets, but when it comes to presenting them at like an event, it's killer to glue them together. So that's the one time to do it.
As far as our favorite sets that we've built, I think one of my favorite sets is we have a Toyota Tacoma that we did for Toyota, and
nice.
That's my favorite.
Nice. Well, when you do,
oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. Sorry. No,
my
go
favorite,
for it.
I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so I'm gonna have to step into the Lego camp and say like that massive Harry Potter castle is where it's at for me.
Yes, yes. I think my boys put together the Death Star one time. They're huge Star Wars guys, so it's yeah. So I get the castle thing. That's pretty epic for sure. Well, cool. So yeah, let's yeah. Oh, that's great. So how long have you guys been with Brava? I know you guys are fairly new, but why don't you tell those that are listening in just how long you've been with Brava?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start with my background because it's kind of unique. I actually started out in the medical laboratory science field. I got my degree and started working in hospital laboratories. And I love science because it involves a lot of learning and new ideas. But I've just always had kind of this entrepreneurial itch. And at some point, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make the jump. So I started asking around to see if there were any businesses that I could start working for. And my dad was actually the interim CEO of Brava at the time. And he said, you should come check it out. So I came on as their kind of product manager, mostly working on the e-commerce side of things. And I immediately loved it. I was mostly working on like optimizing product listings, coming out with new products, and doing some of the marketing focused stuff. And I went to Dean and I was like, you have to come check what we're building. It's like so fun. So brought him on. And then a few months ago, the interim CEO at the time actually transitioned to a larger role at the firm that owns Brava. And so Dean and I kind of stepped into the role. So I'm the CEO and Dean is my right-hand man. He's the COO. And we've actually been in our new roles since November.
Dean, how about you? What's your experience coming into this?
Yeah, so my background has been primarily in software engineering. I've done a little bit of recruiting. I worked at Trigger as well as an operations analyst, but mainly in the software engineering space. And one of the things I love about software engineering is problem solving. So when Burgundy asked me to look into joining Brava Brands, I was pretty interested because it was a different field. But once I started to dig in, especially on the e-commerce side, which where I started, there's a lot of problems to be solved. And just getting a taste of that, I was like, oh my gosh, I never want to go back to any other job. So that's my background. I got started mainly managing the marketplaces, Amazon, Walmart, Shopify, that sort of thing, and then just worked our way up from there.
Okay, I've got some questions I want to ask, but the very first question is that I absolutely have to ask is husband and wife team working as COO and CEO. How is that working out for you guys? I love my wife dearly, but I don't think we could ever be in that kind of role together. How are you guys doing with that? I know it's a win for some and a loss for others, but I'm curious how it's working out for you guys.
I'll say it really doesn't feel like anything changed. She's the CEO in our family as well, so I think it worked out great.
I echo that. I feel like I'm having so much fun, and it's the best job I've ever had. And being able to share that fun and share like what we're building together, honestly, it's been extremely great for our relationship, and I would never go back. It's been so fun.
Yeah, it's been very rewarding. So we love it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Well, kudos to you guys for making it work. Because like I said, there's a lot of people that can't make it work. I'm one of them. But
this child and a youngest child dynamic, it just kind of works out, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, cool. We're not here to talk about relationships. We're here to talk about Brava Brands. And from my initial research on you guys, I think I uncovered a pretty good backstory as to how this actually came to fruition and actually became a reality. Do you want to share with those tuning in what the story or the origin story is behind Brava?
Yeah, sure. I can speak to that. So Brava Brands was actually originally Brick Loot. The name of it was Brick Loot, and it was started by a family out in Chicago in 2013. There was their son, 9 years old, was just really into Lego and wanted to create a subscription box out of Lego, and created that, and it became really big, and they did extremely well, especially through 2020 with the pandemic, and they ended up selling to a private equity company that now owns us, and we've changed the name to Brava, and under Brava there are a couple brands. So there's the Brick Loot brand, which is more consumer facing, and then we also have another brand that was purchased called Faith Bricks, which is more religious based sets, and then we also have BusinessBricks, which has kind of been a newer brand, but it's mostly focused on selling custom Lego sets to corporations that would like to use it for like swag purposes or gifting purposes. So here's a little Amazon truck, for example.
That is awesome.
For them, the recognizable little Amazon package there is fun.
You even have the tape, the black famous tape on the box too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's way cool. So, okay, so there's 3 different brands within Brava's umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
How is that to manage 3 brands? I being a serial entrepreneur myself, I know I have lots of different irons in the fire, so to say, but to have 3 successful brands running underneath you, how is that from an operational standpoint, as well as from just a managerial? How do you keep everything focused? How do you keep everything driving forward?
Yeah, I can speak to that a bit. So it is a lot, and it's something we definitely wouldn't be able to do without our current team and our BusinessBricks side. That is our CRO, Cameron Clark. He has grown that, from the ground up. So he's done great work there with Brick Glue and Faith Bricks. It's actually right now currently called BrickEm Young, but Faith Bricks, we're going to be transitioning to that. It's a lot of work because you're looking for, we're Brava Brands and we want to try to have a unified branding like front, and there's a lot of decisions that go into that, and making sure you're managing the brands well, and like what marketplaces they're on, and what ideas you want to come out with, and if doing tons of product research for very different markets. For BusinessBricks, it's a different ICP. For Faith Bricks, it's a different ICP, and for Brick Glue, it's a different ICP. So it's a lot of work, and but it's very rewarding, and 100% we rely on our team to make it happen.
Awesome. So I think you kind of mentioned something, and I'm kind of reading between the lines here, but it sounds like there might be a rebrand coming a little bit with some of those other brands. Sorry if I'm dropping the alpha, but hey, let's get it out there. People love alpha.
Got it. Yeah, it's great. So we currently do not have a logo for Brava Brands, and we'd love to refresh the Brick Loot logo. It's still in its original form from 2013, and we'd love to kind of give that like a bit of a facelift. And with that comes kind of like, who are we marketing to? Who is our ideal client? And we're kind of flipping the script a little bit, where originally we were a subscription box for kids mostly. We are kind of branching out into not just kids, but anyone who loves to build, whether you're an adult or whether you're a brand. You can just build your passion no matter who you are or where you come from. So yeah, we're really excited to be launching our Brava logo and the new Brick Loot logo very soon.
Awesome. No, that's cool. That's really cool. I've been through a lot of different rebrands with a lot of big companies out of Silicon Valley, and it is a fun exercise. Stressful because, like you said, you're trying to find your ICP and who your audience is and all this kind of stuff, but still being true to the brand that it was before, right? So hey, that's a lot of fun. So I'm excited for you guys on that one. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit, back to, you called it BusinessBricks. Is that right? BusinessBricks. Perfect. And that's kind of like your main focus for right now while you're going through this rebrand. As you've kind of shared with us the Amazon ban and things like that. Kind of walk us through the process of I know these are kind of like swag, desktop giveaway kind of stuff. Kind of walk us through that model and what it looks like for us as a business wanting to work with you guys. What would be that process? How would that work? How does that look? And whoever wants to take that.
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, for sure. So how that model works is we have a team of salespeople who you would hop on the phone with. And as a business, you're either looking for really cool gifts to give to your employees or to give out at events, or maybe you're a business that wants to have, your own brick set of your company that you can sell on your shelves. So those are the two people that we're primarily targeting, are resellers and other corporations who just want to have an awesome culture and give really great gifts. So you would talk to our salespeople. We have our own in-house team of master builders who are very passionate about brick building. And you just walk through that process of, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is our brand. Like, what can you do? You'd go back and forth. And then once you land on a design that you're happy with, we get that manufactured and sent out to you. So, but it's a very, I think, unique and cool thing to be a part of, because we worked with, as you saw, we had Amazon. We also have Pattern is a company here in Utah. I believe they're the #1 Amazon seller. So huge company, and they before going public, they wanted a gift to give out to their employees as like a ceremonial kickoff gift. So we got to be a part of that, help them deliver a really cool gift that they could give out. But yeah, that's kind of how that model works. We talked to tons of different companies, small, large. We've done a deal with Meta. Here's a really cool kit. This is from a company called Kody King. Actually, here at Kiln, we see them all the time. But it's like a little janitor cart. So
that is awesome.
The mop and broom and spray bottles.
It kind of shows like the level of detail that our brick designers are able to create. These like tiny little bottles are just so cute. So
those are awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So do you guys I know they're Lego, but I mean, are you actually buying Lego pieces, or are you like 3D printing them, molding them yourself kind of deal?
Yeah, great question. So we originally with BrickLoot, they used to use all Lego. So everything was purchased from either Lego.com or a Lego reseller like Bricklink. And what we found is it was a little bit more economical if we could go find like our own manufacturers of Lego compatible brick. So now mostly we do compatible brick because the economies of scale there allow a lot more people to be able to purchase that wouldn't normally be able to afford how, sometimes Lego's prices can be quite expensive, especially when tariffs and stuff are happening. It's been really nice to be able to have that other option for people. So now we most everything is actually just Lego compatible brick.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. One thing that you mentioned earlier, Dean, was you've got designers and master builders. Two separate questions that I want to go down. Let's talk about the design first. Now, do you have like a software program for this? Like if I came to you and said, hey, I want you to create a, I don't know, I'm full of little knickknacks. I have my Halo guy right here, right? So if I came to you and said, hey, I want a Halo guy, do I just give you the concept and you have a software that you use, or do you have artists that go in and create this? Like, what does that design process look like?
Yeah, it's actually really cool. So there's BrickLink, which is now owned by Lego. It's an open source software. So it's called BrickLink Studio. And that's where our designers are primarily, that's where they work from. So it has like all the different pieces and everything. And that's where they go and they use that software to build all the many different things that we build for our clients.
That's awesome. Okay. So, and I think when I was talking to you guys before in preparation for this, you guys mentioned that master builder, and I think you said something about a TV show with one of your employees.
Yeah, one of our employees that's been with us the longest, he didn't quite get on the show, but he was in like the final rounds to get on Lego Masters on the Netflix series.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said that like he wasn't quite dramatic enough to be on the show, that he wasn't like worthy, but that his designs were right up there. So yeah, he might try again at some point to get on.
We have I think that's the designers are what I mean. Our team is what sets us apart as a company, and our designers are a huge part of that. As the value that we're able to provide is heavily comes from our designers and their talent. So we love our designers. They're really great at what they do. They're passionate at what they do, and you can see it in their designs that we make.
That's such a good point, Dean. We feel that like our competitors can copy our marketing strategies, they can copy our products, they can copy our ideas, but what they can't copy is our people and the talent and the culture that they bring to the table. And just, what we try to prioritize as leaders is making sure that we're attracting and retaining the talent that is going to take us to that next level. And our brick designers are just a fantastic example of that. They're incredible.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into kind of why we're doing this interview. For our listeners that are listening in, Behind the Premium is actually sponsored by WellTrio, and WellTrio is works with brokers and HR teams to maximize benefit plans. being able to provide one-on-one dedicated support for each and every employee, including their families and spouses, from scheduling to answering questions and being able to help navigate through this complex broken healthcare system, I guess you would call it. And that's actually how I met you guys, was through WellTrio. You guys have been with WellTrio for a long time, it seems like, and we have evolved with you guys just as you guys have scaled, taking you from basic stipend program all the way up to the current benefits programs that you guys are currently offering. So let's talk about that real quick, and because we're behind the premium, so let's talk about like what is actually going on behind the premium, behind the benefits plan for you guys. I know you guys have been on a rampage of just massive hires. I think when I came in to do your guys' case study, there were so many people that were like, yeah, I've only been here about a month. I've been here for 3. I've been here for 6. I've been here for, it was a wide range of people, but you guys are definitely growing. What has been kind of that success behind that growth for you guys?
That's a great question. So when you start out and you're a startup and you're small, people have to take a chance on you, and they have to be like, okay, like they don't really have great benefits. Like, who knows if they're gonna, last very long, because, startups fail all the time. And so we really wanted to prioritize making sure that our people felt like stable and felt like they could give their all and, not be afraid. And so when we first started out, like, we could afford the benefits we could afford. And it wasn't very great. In fact, when we were even able to afford to give benefits at all, that was amazing. And then, but part of our strategy has been, if we want to grow and we want to get to that next level and we want to be able to provide more and more people with opportunities to build what they love, build their passion, build their brand, we're going to need to, like I said, attract and retain like amazing talent. And so we've been really focusing on creating a great culture and a great work environment and a place where people are having fun. We brought someone on who's been like just doing cultural initiatives. Like, she does like
Cool.
games or like activities every couple of weeks for us to just get to know each other as a team. And another huge part of that, of course, is like providing a 401k option and providing, great health benefits. And WellTrio definitely provides that for us, because benefits can be super confusing. Like, I've been there. I've been on the end of benefits where you're like, where do I go? What do I do? How do I get this? Like, this is confusing. And they're able to like walk you through one-on-one everything that you need to know about your benefits plan so that you can maximize it. And so, yeah, we've really just been trying to prioritize that and provide an environment where our employees really feel valued and cared for, because they truly are. They're the backbone of who we are and what we do.
Yeah. So just to add on to that, I think WellTrio is a great like a attractor for the growth that we've been able to have and getting top talent. Now, the economy can be hard at times, and you want to make sure, especially if you have a family, that your health benefits are taken care of, and to be able to join a company that not only does amazing things like we do, like really fun things, to be part of like building an Amazon truck or Pattern or a Toyota Tacoma, right? To be part of that, that's one thing. But then to also feel like you're joining a company that has great benefits, specifically healthcare benefits, I think provides a lot of eagerness to work for us. So we're really glad to have WellTrio.
Yeah, we've had a couple people that we've recently brought on. I'll just share this really quick. And they said that they were kind of looking at several places that they might want to work. And when they saw our benefits plan, it was kind of like, it swayed them into the camp of working for us, which, hearing that, was like, okay, good. Like, I'm so glad that that's paid off for us. It's good to see that proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like when I interview people, like employees, for feedback for us here at WellTrio, it's kind of like, it's interesting because they say when they mention that you have a health advocate coach and a 24/7 support nurse at your disposal. What was the first thought that ran through your mind? And it's funny, some of the reactions I get a lot of times from all different employees from all different industries, that kind of thing. And they're like, well, I get the 24/7 nurse support. I get that, but I didn't know what a health advocate was, health coach advocate. And I was like, okay. And they said, some people were like, it's going to cost a lot more for out of my paycheck. And then when they found out that it's not anymore, it's actually all built into their benefits plan. They said their mouth just kind of hit the floor. And some of them even said, hey, I'm pretty standoffish about even trying this, like sharing my medical history, just telling everything that's going on with me health-wise. And, but by the end of the conversation, they're all like, oh my gosh, why aren't more people doing this? Like, I'm actually telling my family, my friends about this, like they need to get into this kind of stuff. And it's interesting. I mean, I don't like doing my own taxes, so I go to a tax attorney. I sometimes don't like planning my own vacation, so I go to a travel agent. I mean, we have people that specialize in these things for a reason. And with something as complex as the healthcare system, just for the employee alone, that's not even including what the businesses have to go through, all the hoops and regulation and compliance stuff that needs to happen there. So it's always good to have somebody hold your hand and guide you through that, for sure, 100%. So that's amazing that you guys are using that as kind of a recruiting thing. That's good feedback. I'll definitely take that back to the team. So, when you think about your guys' legacy of your leadership at Brava, do you want it to be the benefits, or do you want it to be some of these other things that you guys are looking at? Because if you look at some of these bigger companies that have had multiple CEOs over the years, they take on a legacy. Like, what was their legacy? So I just got to ask, what kind of legacy do you guys want to leave with Brava during your tenure there?
That's such a good question. I definitely feel like I'm very passionate about people and making sure that people feel valued and cared for. So I try to lead with that, and I would hope that people feel that. But I think another thing that just really excites us is how many different avenues and use cases there are for being able to build with bricks. Like, we like to call it build your passion, or being able to take an intangible idea and make it tangible. And I would just love to be able to give that access to being able to build your passion to more and more people. Creating custom sets goes beyond just corporate gifting and promotional products. Like, I'd love to be able to do custom museum sets for old historical museums, and just be in all sorts of retailer spaces. There's just so many use cases for it. And I think people just don't realize that it's a possibility. So being able to, put that on people's radar that, hey, if you are a major fan of Lego and you created your own design, but you don't know how to sell it or who's going to produce it for you, I want to come in as Brava Brands and say, we're going to make your idea into bricks, and it's going to be awesome, and be able to provide that for as many people as possible.
Yeah. And I mean, just a second, that when when Burgundy was moved up to the CEO position and I was moved up to the COO position, all three of us, Cameron's not here, but our CRO, we got in a room and we talked about, our goals for the next year, what we wanted to implement. And we needed to come up with a mission statement. And that mission statement is empower play, spark creativity, and build your passion. And that's, when I think of a legacy, that's the mark we want to leave. We want people to associate Brava Brands with a place where you can go to, build your passion. Everyone has varying different interests and hobbies. And it's one of the great benefits that we have at our company versus, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, Lego, is that we're able to provide an opportunity to people to have their own custom sets built of their passion, whether it's their company or something else, we have that ability. We're able to provide that to people. And I just think that's a really special thing to be able to provide. So that's the legacy that we want to leave. Among, though, having an amazing culture. We really cannot speak more like higher of our current team and what they're able to do. So building that, crafting that culture, and then empowering play, sparking creativity, and giving people the opportunity to build their passion. Those are the two main things.
I love that. I love that. I've worked for a lot of different companies over the years, and you can tell the ones that put time and effort into their employees, their culture, things like that, because no one wants to leave, right? And it's a great place to kind of cultivate their own skill sets, explore things. I totally wholeheartedly agree with you guys on that. And it's interesting too, because I feel like, my career being in marketing and experience design and things like that, I love the story behind products and services, right? And I, with every little knick-knack that you and Burgundy keep showing, it's interesting because you can almost see the story come to life, right? Of their passion, what they want to do. I love the Amazon one. I think when I was in your guys' office, you guys had a big Pinterest pin. That was pretty cool. Just things like that. And for anybody, it's a great little item to have on your desk. I wish I could show my desk because I've got my kids make me things. I stick it on my desk. I have stuff from all my various businesses that I've worked with and consulted with over the years as well. So I'm a huge swag guy. I love hats. I love things like that. I'm a walking billboard sometimes for a lot of different companies, but hey, that's what it's all about, right? That's the creative marketing behind storytelling, because it's a tangible thing that people can hook onto, and it's built into our DNA, right? We want to connect to things that we're passionate about. So I want to ask kind of an audible question here. I love that you guys are kind of wanting to take people's passions with Lego sets and kind of make them come to life. What kind of activities or events are you guys attending or want to host yourself potentially to kind of cultivate, like as Burgundy mentioned earlier, a Netflix series type of thing to benefit and to kind of cultivate what your whole ethos is there at Brava?
I can speak to that a little bit. I know one of the things that we really want to implement, at least from a kind of like a community standpoint, is for people to be able to submit their ideas and have the community vote on it to have that be built. So that is one idea that we're working on implementing, just because we're nothing without our customers, and like I said, our mission statement, building your passion, that's giving our community a chance to do that. Outside of that, we have events that we're attending, like from we have promotional events that we go to. We
wholesale events.
Yeah, wholesale events, that sort of thing too.
HR and marketing events. Mm-hmm. Anywhere where somebody might want to, check out our products and potentially utilize them in their own marketing efforts, we try to attend. And like Dean said, because we do have the two brands, we have BusinessBricks, which is mostly focused on creating sets for corporations. And then we also have BrickLoot, which is more of that consumer facing side of things. Again, we talked about BrickLoot going through a big rebrand, and part of that is we really do we want to incorporate more feedback and input from people, and kind of have like sort of a Kickstarter like web page built into our page, so that somebody can say, hey, I love this design, I think you guys should make it. People can vote on it, and then it really becomes up to the consumer what they want to see built next.
Love that. I have an idea I want to throw out. Just throwing it out. Add a fourth layer to this. I'm just kidding. Charity bricks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So basically, you can tap into all of these quote unquote master builder, people that are out on social, out on YouTube that are claiming to be mastered Lego builders, right? Have them come in, build a design, and then auction them all off for charity type of thing. I think that could be a huge win for you guys. Huge win.
I love that idea.
I mean, just send me.
I get 10%.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that would be great because it's another way to really like I have a very special place in my heart for autism and special needs. And so a lot of the companies that I go to, we always have like name a company gives back, you know, that kind of thing. And so we work with a lot of those different type of charities. And I think that's a great way to leverage what you guys have and your capabilities, your skill sets of these awesome people. It sounds like that you're bringing in to basically help promote their cause and their need. And so might be something to look into, because I think that could be a huge marketing and awareness type of thing for not only you guys, but also for the whole Lego enthusiast community.
I love that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So sorry, had to throw it out there, guys. That's what we do here. We just shoot from the cuff. That's for sure. But so kind of moving along, you know, we've talked about the community. We've talked about the different types of, you know, growth. We've talked about your guys' legacy that you really kind of are wanting to leave there. Let's kind of shift a little bit. You guys have been from startup to just now you guys have kind of beaten that curve, and you guys are now a full-fledged company, right? That's got some good legs on it. What kind of advice would you give to early stage companies that are just barely getting started? You mentioned that you're at the Kiln. For those that are listening in, if you're not in the Utah area, the Kiln is kind of like a WeWorks type of space with multiple startup businesses in there. It's a great place to network, and it's a great place to get started. So thinking with those kind of people in mind, what kind of advice would you give them when it comes to their growth, to being able to get where you guys are at? I know you guys have leveraged e-commerce, various e-commerce sites to really help promote and push your brand. So yeah, what kind of feedback would you or advice would you give to startups that were in a similar situation as you guys?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's situation is unique. So, but I can only speak to what I feel like, you know, if I could go back and give myself advice when we were in that stage, the first thing that jumps out is it's about who you know. Like, find talented people who have done this before, work with them, like get good consulting. I feel like that has been such a major help for us, at least me personally. You know, there are some people we were fortunately able to connect with kind of just through happenstance, who had done e-commerce before and had grown and scaled businesses. And that I just cannot, like, that has been so helpful, not from an emotional standpoint as well, because they've been through it. It's hard to grow a business, but also just to make sure you're making the right steps. I think that's the biggest thing I would preach to anyone, is just kind of like network, go find other people, surround yourself with like-minded people who have done this before, that you can, draw on from their experience.
That is so true. Like, I think that would actually be my answer as well. But since you took it, I'll say another one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I feel, first of all, like being able to consult with people who have done it before is hands down like the best thing we ever decided to do and continue to do. And then the other thing I would say is, like, I personally am afraid of making mistakes sometimes. Like, I have kind of that fear of messing up, fear of failure. And I literally think that the only way to create a business, like build it from the ground up, is you have to like kind of let go of that fear. You cannot be so afraid of failing, because the truth is you're absolutely going to, and you just have to be okay with that. But then, like, take that failure and learn from it, and don't make that mistake again, and let it inform your next decision so that you're utilizing it as a tool and not just beating yourself up about the things that you could have done better. It's about that grit and not giving up. And that's actually something that I really have to thank Dean for. He's been an absolute rock when things get hard. So he's very good at that.
That's very kind. I would say one other thing that comes up that, from one of the, I look at him as a mentor, but he had talked about kind of relishing, because there will be hard times ahead for sure. And when you have the good times, really take it in, and maybe take a minute and like write that down somewhere so you can reflect on it for when inevitably those hard times come and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I here? You can think back on those, he calls them glimmers. So glimmers, those like really special days that do come. And I think that's helped Burgundy and I a lot through our times, is thinking about, well, what are the glimmers that we've had that really made this worth it? So.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I had a mentor early on. I've been doing this for 26 years, and I mean, I've had so many different mentors over the years, but one of the first ones that I do remember that gave me some sound advice was journaling. As a business owner, as a leader, journal constantly. Don't worry about the daily stuff. I mean, that's a whole nother journal. Keep a separate journal just for business stuff, because you can go back and you can say, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it through. I'm eating top ramen this week for the 5th week in a row type of thing. And I haven't had a sell. I haven't had this or that. And then a year later, you're looking back and you're eating, steak and lobster. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, remember that time when I didn't think I was going to make it and I was eating top ramen kind of deal? So yeah, it's a good motivator. So it's awesome that you said that. And I think that is a very, very powerful tool for sure. Anything else you guys want to throw out there as advice or anything like that you would want to give businesses coming up? Or is that your number one answer and you're sticking to it?
Oh, I got some more.
Oh, good. Let's hear it.
I feel like people who have a good heart and are trying to do good in the world, like, man, I have so much respect for people who just care about making the world a better place. And like, I feel like if you can like go about your day, go about your business, everything you're doing with that framework in mind of like, I'm trying to just make the world a better place. I'm trying to serve people. I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to provide value to people that need it. Like, I feel like that motivation and that the framework of like thinking about what you're doing can help you so much, not only to like stay consistent and, get up every day and keep at it, but it also helps you, I think clearer and make better business decisions because you've just got people's best interest in mind. And if you can provide value to people and serve people, I don't think there's anywhere that you can't go. So yeah, I think that's all though. That's all I have.
I have another one.
Go for it.
I would say establishing core values. And I thought this was like such a, I don't know, kind of like cheesy or cliche. I've been at other companies before and, huge companies, it didn't mean a whole lot. I was like, oh yeah, there's those core values. Oh my goodness. In a leadership position, and when you're trying to cultivate a certain type of culture, find out your core values. What matters to you, the type of people that you want. It has been, whenever hard decisions come up or we're like confused, okay, what do? We think of our core values that we've established. Like one of them is radical transparency. I think that's a big one that's stuck with our employees too, to be like, hey, we're going to be radically transparent, right? And you can like call on that core value. I think it's been, don't underestimate how great those are, establishing core values, not just for your business as a whole, but I think also as a, when you're in a startup or you're a founder, right, you're early on, being able to rely on those as kind of like your North Star to help direct you has been extremely valuable for us. So, and there was a time period before core values for us, and then there's a time period after, and I just feel like it was a very stark difference after establishing the core values, just how helpful that was for us in our company.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, because I think that having them up here versus writing them down so that everybody in the company can see it, I agree. I think that aligns quite a bit. And, for me, it's always been a hard thing, because I'm with you, Burgundy. I love creating a culture that is just so warm and inviting that nobody wants to leave. But let's be honest, and let's look at the reality of it is, like, if you're not taking good care of your employees, they're out of there, right? If you're not providing the right pay, the right kind of culture to kind of keep cultivating, even just benefits, right? They're gone. They won't, no matter how cool of a company it is, they got to look at for themselves. They got to look for their families, that kind of thing. And so it's a real struggle. And to be honest, it's kept me up quite a bit at night sometimes with some of my companies. And I think for me, one of the earliest and hardest things to do as a leader was overcoming the fear of letting people go. I'm a firm believer of getting the right people on the bus, but also getting the right people in the right seats on the bus. And that can really determine or limit or hinder your growth or your speed at that growth by not having the right people on. And as much as I want to just say, hey, this is the place where you guys are going to come work for us for 30 years, retire, it's going to be a fun place, right? That's a pipe dream. That was our parents. That was a long time ago. The average person now staying at a company for no more than 3 to 4 years, it's hard, right? Because you guys are spending a lot of time investing in culture, benefits, resource, things like that. And so I think having, like with what Dean just said, your guys' ethos, those core value statements, written, visible everywhere that everybody can see it so that they can walk in. And I think of the old sports sign above the gymnasium. Just as you walk out, everybody slaps it before they go out to the game, right? Because they believe in it, and you're all aligned that way. So I love that. That's great advice, guys. Really, really good advice. Just a few more questions. We're coming up at the top of the hour, and I want to be mindful to your guys' time. Thank you again for coming. Appreciate it. But, you guys had mentioned a time pre values versus post values. I kind of want to go down that vein a little bit. Tell me what it was like pre benefits versus post benefits. And Burgundy, with you having a background in healthcare and in training and health and wellness as well, what was it that really made you make that conscious decision to start investing more into the benefits? Just because it wasn't the right thing to do, but like you guys have talked about, you've used it as a lever, but what was it in your mind for you and Dean that kind of changed that whole thinking around benefits?
One of our mentors told us one time that when you have a meeting, you want to make sure that everyone shows up caffeinated and well fed.
Yeah.
And because then they're able to give their best to the meeting, they're able to focus and have the best ideas. And I really like that idea of being able to provide an environment or provide a the perfect situation, or not perfect, nothing's perfect, but a great setup and a great situation for all the people that you're trusting to run your company and run your brand. They're set up for success. And I know from firsthand experience that if you don't have time to take care of your health, and if you don't have someone helping you prioritize kind of that very, very important part of your life, but that sometimes gets a little forgotten with all of the urgent things that come up in our day. It's important to have that support so that everyone can show up to the table and show up to the meeting at their best. And I know for me personally, I have always been in the health and wellness field. I've always been super interested in it because I've seen that difference firsthand in my abilities to think. I'll share a quick story. I know we're coming up on time, but
hey, we can go as long as you guys want. I'm trying to be mindful of your time, but hey, I'm here all day if we need to.
So when I was in college, I realized that, hey, my mom's not cooking for me anymore. I don't really know how to cook. Like, I'm just kind of eating whatever I can find. And a lot of the time it was vending machine stuff instead of real meals because you're just busy and you just kind of forget about it. And so I was in college. I went to BYU here in Utah in Provo, and I started noticing that like my grades were not where I wanted them to be. I wasn't doing as well. There was specifically a genetics class that I was attending that it was my worst grade. I was getting a D in the class, and the entire semester I had been like just getting worse and worse grades, and I would like fall asleep in classes, and it was just not good. And my mom, I went over to her house because she lived just a couple cities over, and I was like, Mom, like, I can't focus in class. Like, my grades are bad. What do I do? I was kind of spiraling. And she's like, well, what have you been eating? And I was like, well, I just grab stuff out of the vending machine. I have like a big jar of Nutella that I sometimes eat. Like, she's like, how are you going to like do well? You need to give your brain fuel. And so I was like, okay. So she like kind of gave me some tips and like gave me some things I could cook in my dorm and things like that. And I started eating better. And within like literally like a week and a half, I stopped falling asleep in classes. And we were coming up on the end of the semester. And this is so vivid to me because I had gotten like really bad grades, like on all of my genetics tests up until that point. And then I took the final after a few weeks of eating better, and I actually got an A on the final, which to me was so crazy because I would have had to like learn all of the information that I had failed on before. It just was such a testament to me that the way that you show up for yourself translates into your productivity and everything in your work. So yeah, that long story just to say that it's always been important to me. I want to provide that for ourselves, for our employees, so that we can all show up at our best and do the best job we can for Brava Brands.
And WellTrio provides that coaching, just like you went to your mom. We're able to provide, we kind of outsource that. It's not just health insurance, you're calling some, I don't know, customer service agent on the phone. Like, you have a kind of like an accountability partner, someone there who can help guide you through your health goals. And I think that's something that's very valuable to Burgundy and I as leaders at the company.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And no, that was not a long story at all. That was perfect. That was really good. I agree with Dean that our moms are our accountability coaches growing up. And when we move out, that accountability coach is not necessarily in front of us every single day saying, did you eat? That kind of thing. And now it's just a phone call away type of thing. But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you guys on that point. And I think it's important for employees to understand as well is that, these benefits are there for their health, their work-life balance, their just overall kind of, to make life happy, right? And far too often, I'm guilty of it as well, that we skip and we waste benefits each and every year. And it's like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about this. But to Dean's point, it's nice having that accountability coach saying, hey, did you go for your annual checkup? I got to go in for my 45th little procedure to get checked. And I put it off for a year, and I've got that little nagging noise in the back of my head now that it's like, oh, I got to go get screened. Type of thing. But having a coach, having a person that reminds you each and every week is ideal, in my opinion. And happier life, happier. What's that saying? Happy wife, happy life type of thing. I totally agree with that. So, I love how WellTrio also works with the wives, and because let's be honest, I don't know my kids' social security numbers. I barely remember their birth dates, that kind of thing. It's like my CEO is my wife. Let's be honest. I agree with you on that, Dean. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. But for them to be able to work with them directly, a lot of the times is so helpful. So helpful. So, all right. We're almost at the top of the hour. I have one last question, and it's a doozy. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
What kind of final words do you want to leave for anybody that's listening here? Any other additional takeaways that you want them to have?
I will say, so this is kind of related to the benefits thing, but having employees who are like healthy and cared for is super important. It's also really nice to know that like they're going to get that preventative care, and they're going to make like WellTrio is going to make sure that like people are getting preventative checkups so that like we don't have to worry about someone, having some underlying thing that doesn't get checked for a while, and then they have to end up in the hospital or something because they didn't have time in their busy schedules to like schedule that preventative care, or they didn't know who to go to, or like how to do it, or how to get insurance to pay for it, or
it's
any
too
of that.
daunting or something.
Yeah. And then what that kind of does as well is if nobody is having like big medical events because they're getting all that preventative care that they need, that prevents you from your insurance rates skyrocketing later, and it really contributes to like just a healthier America in general. I know that's kind of like a big tie-in to like the whole country, but I really do see it as like when I said earlier, like the reason I get up in the morning is to provide value to people and to do good in the world. I really see my role as a CEO to like take care of my people and make sure that they have what they need to do good in the world, and to really shape America's future by doing what I can to influence culture and to influence people's health and influence their families for the better. Like I see that there's so much benefit to being able to be a leader in that space, and I would just encourage other leaders to look at that and look at how they can contribute to a better future for America in that way.
I second that. I think that's great.
I love it. I love it. So for anybody that's interested in working at Brava or working with Brava on a project, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Oh yeah, great question. So go to BusinessBricks.com if you want anything custom with your logo on it. You can also go to BrickLoot.com for like fun little sets. We're coming out with some new product lines that'll be here soon. The Faith Bricks website will be launched very soon. Right now, it's called BrickEm Young. That's where you can find like some like temples, and there's a nativity set on there. You can find us directly on our website, or you can also go to Amazon. We're also working on a wholesale program. So if you're interested in becoming a wholesaler with us, or you're interested in a retail set, reach out to BusinessBricks.com and we can get you situated with that. We'll have a website for wholesale coming up soon.
And we're just here at Kiln in Lehigh. If you typed in Kiln Lehigh, they have many different locations, but Kiln 1 in Lehigh. And people, if you're in the area, you're at Kiln, you can see us. We're on the second floor here. Stop by and you can just talk to us too.
Perfect. And I assume you guys are on all the social media channels, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Are you guys on all those?
We're getting there.
You're getting there. I love it.
Yeah, we have our personal ones on LinkedIn. Yeah, so reach out to us there. I think that's probably the best place.
We have
another good place.
Bricks on LinkedIn. We have BrickLoot on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. So
perfect. Well, I'm pretty sure WellTrio will be coming through trying to get some promotional things. We'll probably have to put our heads together to come up with something fun and interesting that can sit on an HR or a broker or even a business owner's desk to remind them that, hey, I've got a health coach advocate that's
Awesome.
ready to help me 24/7, right? So
That's
be
right.
thinking about that. And yeah, so with that, I just want to thank Dean and Burgundy for joining us today. And thanks to all you guys for tuning in as well. If you're listening live or if you're listening on the recording, make sure that you give us a like and a subscribe so that we can keep beating the algorithms of these stupid social channels. It stinks that we have to do it, but we got to play their game. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thanks again to Brava for coming in. We appreciate you guys' support with WellTrio sponsoring this video as well. So with that being said, thanks everybody, and we will catch you on the next episode of Behind the Premium. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.